Yo, clean that shit off, dude.
All right, we're gonna cut. Okay, that was freaking awkward. I just opened up a root beer. And some of the drink got on the mic, and it freaked me out. So.
Nonetheless, what's going on, guys? SteelTwins back at you with another full mock draft.
Absolutely, man. Disclaimer: this will include a trade. So let's just get right into it, man. Steelers trade their 20th overall pick, of course, the 20th overall pick, the 66th overall pick, which is the third round pick we got from the Raiders, their 192nd overall pick, which is the 6th round pick, and their 2020 second round pick to the Denver Broncos for their 10th overall pick. Why the Denver Broncos? Because, well, we need to trade in front of the Bengals because it's pretty inevitable who they want to get. And coincidentally, we need the same guy that they want to get, of course, because they got rid of Perfect. They needed a linebacker. And the guy that's more likely going to be there when they select is Devin Bush.
Exactly. I keep hearing some people saying they're going to get offensive linemen or another target. I can't see that. That defense was their problem last year.
Yeah.
They specifically need defense.
Yeah, it might have been one of the worst statistical defenses probably in NFL history. So they definitely need inside linebackers. They definitely need help on that defense.
So no doubt in my mind they're going to go defense.
Yeah, and of course inside linebackers are our biggest need. And honestly, we need to address it immediately. And I think trading up is definitely called for. Now we could go with a guy like Mack Wilson at 20, which I would completely love. I'm massive on Mack Wilson, man. We are incredibly high on him. I would not mind him at 20. In fact, I would love to pick at 20. But you know that the Steelers are going to want someone a lot faster, a lot more determined, with a lot more passion and heart. That guy is Devin Bush. We all know how fucking fast he is. He's almost as fast as Shazier, which is fucking crazy. He has the sideline speed and everything that we need, and he has the covering ability, the passion, the heart, the love, everything, man. Seriously. Now, the thing with the Broncos, the second round pick, the 2020 second round pick, might be tough to give up. But one, the Broncos are definitely going to want a lot if they're going to get rid of the 10th pick because they could get potentially their future franchise quarterback with that pick. So them giving up that pick is going to be incredibly tough to do. So with us offering the second round pick next year, it just might do, and they can still potentially get their quarterback or whatever, possibly with the 20th pick or in the later pick, maybe with that extra third round pick that they have that we're giving them. Or if they want to fix up the defense, they can get it with the 20th picks, so they don't have to reach on anyone. So it might give them a little bit more. It might give the Broncos a little more breathing room at 20 and everything, especially with the extra picks. But them giving up the 10th pick, it just might call for the second round pick for us to give up. And the thing is that although it's going to be tough to give up next year, don't forget and remember, we're going to get a third round compensatory pick for the departure of Le'Veon Bell. So we would still have two day 2 picks next year, which would of course be 2/3. The issue is that day 2 is just going to take a little longer for Steelers fans.
Right, but nonetheless, if we excuse me, if we really want to get a guy like Devin Bush, who's very explosive, very talented, and could very well potentially start day 1, I think the Steelers are going to have to be willing to give up this much.
Yes.
Now, we could do it with the Bills, but that's just about the same. Plus, it's a pick ahead.
Right.
Because the Bills are going to want a guy like DK Metcalf, and giving up the 9th.
Or even a TJ Hawkins.
Yeah, and giving up the 9th, that's a little far-fetched for the Bills. So
right.
It's either the Bills or the Broncos. I think the Broncos are the best choice, especially since it's a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the Broncos just might be the best fit. But either way, Steelers trading up just might have to happen, especially with how much ammunition we have with the picks this year. So, it's possible. But with the 10th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select, of course, this is obvious, Devin Bush, inside linebacker out of Michigan. Inside linebacker is our biggest need. We need to address immediately. We haven't been able to replace Shazier since he got injured. John Bostic and Vince Williams are okay inside linebackers. They're not really number ones, in my opinion. They're good number twos. They're solid number twos, but we don't have an inside linebacker that can cover and that has the sideline speed and is good in the rushing defense as well. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Devin Bush. Before the combine, I wouldn't mind us drafting him, but I knew the Steelers would really love that speed and everything. There was just something about Devin Bush that threw me off. But after the combine and Seeing him at his pro day and everything, man, he is incredibly growing on me. So I think Devin Bush just might have to be our guy at 10. Now, if Devin White is there, I would take Devin White over Devin Bush. But I don't think Devin White's going to be there, especially since the Buccaneers are more likely going to take him. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
So, but we're incredibly high on Devin Bush now. I think he could definitely be our guy. And him lasting the number 20, I just don't see it happening with the Bengals in front of us. So I think we have to trade in front of the Bengals in order to go get Devin Bush. So I think that's just a very necessary thing to do. And I don't think Devin Bush going to one of our rivals is very fun to think about, especially since we already know what they did with William Jackson III a few years back. So why don't we return the favor by trading up and go getting Devin Bush? Who could just be our solution at inside linebacker. So
Absolutely. Now with the 52nd overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Kelvin Harmon, wide receiver from NC State.
Yeah, man. This guy has talks of being a potential first-round talent, and I completely agree. This guy is incredibly underrated and not getting talked about. You got guys like Metcalf and A.J. Brown, and even Hakeem Butler is getting more talk than him.
And N'Keal Harry, Marquess Brown. There's a lot of other receivers that are being talked about more than Kelvin Harmon.
Right, and for, good reason. I'm not shitting on any of them. They're all great talents and everything. But Kelvin Harmon is really being slept on, he's got great height. He's 6'2", 6'3". He has that height that Ben would love. Now, he's not the fastest guy. He's not a blazer. He's not a burner. He's not going to torch you with a speed or anything. But he can definitely work on it. But, he definitely makes up for it with his catching ability and his route running ability, which is insane with his size.
Exactly.
Ben would just love his size and everything and his catching ability. Like I said, his route running ability.
Even his yards after catch are freakish.
Yeah, man. His yak yards I look at this guy, and many people are giving him comparisons to Michael Thomas, and I can see it. I see a much bigger Anquan Bolden.
Yeah.
I said the same thing about N'Keal Harry and everything, but N'Keal Harry reminds me more of a Larry Fitzgerald kind of player. Of course, not as effective, not as great. Of course, there will never be another Larry Legend. But in terms of how N'Keal Harry plays the game and his rack yards and everything and his speed, of course, it reminds me a lot of Larry Fitzgerald. While Kevin Harmon just reminds me a whole lot of a bigger Anquan Bolden.
Yeah, and Bolden was never the fastest guy, but he let his play style do the talking on the field.
Seriously. Anquan Bolden is arguably one of the most underrated receivers in the last 20 years. So I think Kelvin Harmon, and I think he could definitely last in the second round with his slow 40. And apparently there's this talk going around how his catching is, not as effective because he makes too many cradle catches. He catches it with his chest instead of his hands and everything, which I don't see the whole biggie about it. That's more so what a receiver is supposed to do.
Yeah, as long as you have it in your hands and you have possession of it, I'm fine. As long as you can catch the damn ball.
Right, and honestly, he still has some very tremendous hands in himself. Kelvin Harmon does. So, but I think this guy can be a solid number 2 opposite of Juju Smith-Schuster. He's not a guy that wouldn't really start day one.
Especially with the signing of Moncrief and everything, and Washington still developing.
Right, but he's a guy that we can definitely develop and be a very, very, very nice and solid number 2, man. Especially with his height, Ben will fucking go crazy over it. He's been begging for a tall receiver basically his entire career. He hasn't had it. Ben has been tremendous with the small receivers, so imagine with a tall receiver, man. So unlike Kelvin Harmon, this offense, opposite of Juju, man, that's just match made in heaven.
Absolutely.
Seriously, man. And the Steelers love those day 2 receivers, so Kelvin Harmon, if he's there in the second round, why not go for him, man? First round talent in the second round, I'd go for it.
Absolutely.
Seriously. Now, with the 83rd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jace Sternburger, tight end out of Texas A&M, man. Another underrated tight end, a guy that's not really getting talked about a lot. Granted, there's guys inferior to him.
Obviously, Fan, Hawkinson, Irv Smith.
Arguably, Caleb Wilson could be considered better than him just based on his speed. But Jay Sternburger, he's not the fastest guy either. He ran a 4.75 in the 40 at the combine, which isn't too bad for a tight end. I expected a little faster, but it's still not too bad. He could definitely work on his speed a little bit, but he makes it up for his catching ability and his route running. His route running at the tight end position is actually pretty tremendous and pretty impressive.
Exactly.
There's not many tight ends that are tremendous with the route running ability, but Jay Sternburger is just smooth on him, and like I said, he's got great hands. He's not that bad in the blocking, but he does show determination that he can work on it.
Yeah.
And with how we usually because the Steelers love those blocking tight ends, so we can definitely develop him into working as a blocker. So I think adding him as a target, as the number 2 opposite of Vance McDonald, adding depth time position, but at the same time working on him to be a very nice blocker and everything, and him being a nice vertical weapon for Ben and everything, and just completing this offense completely, I think it would be very nice.
Absolutely.
Now him lasting to the 3rd round might be a bit of a stretch there.
But I can personally see it. Because, like you said, he's not being talked about a lot. He's very underrated.
Right, and depending on how many tight ends go in the 1st round, it's very possible.
It is.
So
it really is. And Jay Sternburger, he reminds me a lot of Jesse James, just a better catcher and route runner.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah.
Much better, seriously.
With the 122nd overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Porter Gustin, edge rusher from USC.
You talk about underrated. You talk about not getting talked about a lot. Porter Gustin, probably in this entire draft class, is at the top of that fucking mountain right there. Because, granted, yes, he does have injury issues, and that is the one thing that really throws us off about Porter Gustin. He does have injury issues, but there is no denying that when he is on the field, he is one hell of a fucking pass rusher. And not only that, man, he's got some speed to him. He's incredibly strong. He can tackle, of course. Like I said, he can get to the quarterback, man. So I think this guy, drafting him in the 4th round, especially since how he's not being talked about a lot, I think we can definitely snag him in the 4th, be a nice steal and everything. And of course, with the whole thing with Bud Dupree, and you guys know our opinion on Bud Dupree and everything. So he would basically sit under Dupree or sit under Watt or whatever.
Yeah, because he can start off as a depth guy, but then build his way up as the replacement to Dupree. And I think he can replace Dupree.
Yes.
The guy is severely underrated. He literally had, 7.5 sacks in the 8 games he played before he got injured?
That's almost a sack a game, which is
that's scary.
Much better than that's more sacks than Dupree got all year last year. So
exactly, and that was in 8 games.
Yeah, so imagine what he can do if he remained healthy and played a full season with a year under his belt to develop. And him opposite T.J. Watt. I mean, shit.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Porter Gustin, T.J. Watt, man, sign me up. Seriously.
Absolutely.
Seriously, man. Now, at the 141st pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select David Long, inside linebacker out of West Virginia. Another inside linebacker. And honestly, why the hell not? We lost O.J. Ford. I know we got Mark Barron, but he could more than likely be he'll more likely be the dime back and everything. He'll more likely apply a little bit of depth at the safety position and inside linebacker because he can, of course, play both. But I think we'll more than likely have him as the dime backer specifically. And honestly, it wouldn't hurt to side David Long because he's a big sleeper himself, man. He's incredibly fast as well. He's almost as fast as Devin Bush, just by a few seconds off, or a few tenths of a second off. So, I mean, adding him, he could be a very nice special teamer. And honestly, depending on what happens with Bostic or Williams in the future,
or even Matakavich.
Yeah, so that's true. He could battle Matakavich for a roster spot and everything. Or like I said, depending on what happens with Bostic or Williams, this guy can come in and potentially build himself up to be the number 2, and then you can have 2 incredibly fast inside linebackers with great sideline speed, great run stuffers, and great coverage ability. I mean, that's just crazy to think about. Devin Bush and David Long, who are 2 incredibly fast inside linebackers on this defense that are tremendous in the rushing game. Devin Bush can be the cover guy, while David Long, man, can be the pass rush because he can definitely he's good in the pass rush as well. He can be the run stuffer, and of course he has that tremendous speed. So this pick would not only apply depth, but a guy that we could develop into potentially becoming a number 2, so that if Devin Bush were to get hurt, or if someone were to get hurt, David Long could come in and we would still have that sideline guy that we could have at inside linebacker.
Absolutely.
So I think it would be a nice depth pick, but someone that could definitely build himself up because he is a very underrated player.
Yeah, for what he did in West Virginia, not a lot of people are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He was a hell of a player for West Virginia.
Yeah, he was. So imagine him with this team, man, especially with that speed.
Exactly.
He'd be a burner on special teams, but again, he can build himself up.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Now, with the 175th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jamal Peters, cornerback from Mississippi State.
Yeah, we finally go corner, man. I know we wait till the 6th round, which, depending on who you talk to, depending on how you look at it, may be a little eager, but I trust Steven Nelson completely. I think it's a phenomenal fucking signing. I think it will turn out to be a phenomenal fucking signing. So, with that being said, I think it helps add a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more freedom into waiting to go after cornerback. And with this pick, this would be nothing but depth. You know, he could battle Artie Burns for a roster spot, or depending on what we want to do with Burns or whatever, he can battle with Brian Allen for depth and everything. So this would be nothing but a depth pick. But Jamal Peters is someone we're very high on. We've been high on him for months now. Someone we could develop to be a nice special teamer. He's got some nice height to him as well. He could work on his speed a little bit, but Jamal Peters is a very nice press corner that we can definitely develop and be a nice depth guy behind Nelson and Hayden and Hilton and Sutton. So
that's a damn good cornerback class.
Absolutely.
On our team.
Absolutely. So I think he would apply great depth, be a nice special teamer, but someone that we could develop into whether Joe Hayden doesn't resign or get injured, we could build him or put him in that spot. We could have him and Sutton battle for a potential starting gig down the road or whatever. So we can do many things with Peters, man. He's a very big sleeper and would apply nice depth, but I wouldn't sleep on him to be a future starter or a future impact player for this team.
Absolutely.
So now with the 207th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Kaji Olesen, running back out of Pittsburgh. Okay, so we finally go running back here. This guy would be nothing but our third guy. This would be a depth pick. This would pretty much finish and conclude and solidify our running back position, our running back core, and our rush game completely. But, you know, him and James Conner obviously have that connection from when they were the Pittsburgh Panthers and everything. You know, when Conner went out with Hodgkin's lymphoma, he came in and did very well. Then when Conner came back, he was obviously the backup. But then when Conner got drafted, he came into the starting role and had a tremendous fucking season last year. So not only could we get that Panthers duo back together with Conner and Olesen, but he would be a very nice power back as well. He's not the fastest guy and everything. He pretty much ran the same 40 as James Conner and Le'Veon Bell. So, and you know the Steelers aren't really big on those fast running backs outside of course, Willie Parker and everything, but they're more big on those slow power backs that can run you over and definitely get that extra yardage, and they can definitely push their way into the end zone. And that's what Olesen can apply to this rushing game.
Absolutely. Having the duo of Olesen and Conner again and doing many things with Samuel since he is versatile in himself. Mm-hmm. Again, three-headed monster at the running back.
Exactly.
And we can get back to the old-school Steelers way, running the ball.
Exactly, man. That's what we need to get back to. You know, I love Ben and everything, but although, granted, you know, it could be because of Antonio Brown and everything, but he is still making some mistakes that he shouldn't be making at this stage of his career. And we need to, and you know, because of that, I feel like we need to take some pressure off of Ben and everything. Although, yes, he had a phenomenal season last year. You know, you can't take anything away from it with his age and everything. He had a phenomenal year, but we definitely need to start running the ball more. And applying Olesen to this rushing game and everything, and adding that chemistry back with Olesen and Conner, and like you said with Samuels, I think that's very nice.
Absolutely,
I think it would just be the driving force for this Steelers offense, man. Seriously,
without a doubt.
So,
and with the 219th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Alex Bars, guard from Notre Dame.
Yes, another guy that we've been high on for months now, man. Because of his injury, I feel like he's definitely going to drop. He could potentially even go undrafted, but I think that's where we can steal him in the 7th round. He would be a very nice depth guy. Of course, he would be behind B.J. Finney. He could back up to Castro or whatever. So
as well as Foster as well,
yeah,
too.
So, yeah, this would be nothing but depth, but a guy that is very underrated. And you know Notre Dame really does develop. So we could grab him and develop him to a nice guard, be a very nice backup, and depending on what happens with Foster or whatever, you know, when his contract's up, or depending on what we do with Finney, he could come in and take Finney's spot, or Finney could come in and take Foster's spot, and then Bars would take Finney's spot as the backup, or whatever, or vice versa. So Alex Bars could be a very nice depth guy that we can definitely develop and keeping this offensive line young and fresh and hungry and strong.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, anyway, guys, that is our 7th-round mock draft. Let us know your guys' thoughts, comments below, man. We'll be back with another mock draft pretty shortly, man. It will be another 7th-round mock draft and everything, so I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Otherwise, let us know your guys' thoughts, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later.
Peace!